Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Sarupaya Radha Krishna Pastimes
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Gora Karuna Sarupaya Radha Krishna Pastimes
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayana
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Govardhana Vrinda Haribol, Nitai Gaur, Haribol. Everybody sing. Chaitanya Das, Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Haribol, Haribol.
Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gaur, everybody sing.
Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana
Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa,
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Nande, Pura Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine, Gaura Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
There is a misconception that if one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, then he has achieved the goal of life. Mayroong mga individuals, ang goal lang nila, ma-initiate ng spiritual master. Okay? Alam mo, initiate? They approach a spiritual master, they're given initiated name, they're given a certain number of rounds, tapos akala nila that's it. Okay? But that's not the case. Devotional service begins at the time of initiation when yung individual listen and hear the instruction of the spiritual master. So prior to being initiated, one must live a life of a disciple. What is a disciple? A disciple is someone who disciplines his senses, his heart, his mind, and focus it upon a longing, a desire to do the will of God. And you engage activities that will enhance, enthuse you. You become encouraged to do the will of God. And it gives you happiness, security, okay? So yung may mga individuals na akala nila, oh, magpa-initiate ako, ang goal ng life, magpa-initiate. Initiate, meaning an initiation is a two-way relationship. Hindi lang ibig sabihin nun na you ask for initiation, oh, the goal is initiation, may name ako ng pangalan ni Krsna at may dasi ba sermon or das, but that's not what we should be trying to achieve. Because that is not what we should achieve. Just to be initiated and then go on our own way. Okay? The value of having a bona fide spiritual master and following his instruction is very important and crucial sa buhay natin. Kasi at that time, we will be guided by God. At the time na either initiated ka o hindi ka initiated, meaning wala, you have not yet approached a bona fide spiritual master to offer your life, but you're living a life na in practice, you're living a life in practice as a disciple. You live a life of a disciple. A disciple is someone who follows the instruction of the spiritual master, studies Shastra, scriptures. Yun ang ginagawa ng aspiring disciple. Okay. So, a real disciple is someone who's loving God. So, all of us here, nandito tayo ngayon, we are given this opportunity to learn about how we can relate to the Supreme Person, Lord Krsna. And that starts when we are fortunate to come in contact with the bona fide spiritual master, who is the representative of God. So he gives us guidance. He gives us the holy names. But when one becomes mature, he begins to understand and realize he becomes liberated. Ma-liberate siya from material desire. At makikita niya, ang dapat ko palang gawin is just to do the will of God. And how can you do the will of God? Not by listening to someone who is not the representative of God. Someone who have not put himself in a position, in a situation to accept a bona fide spiritual master. So how can a person teach about God when he himself did not follow the instruction of Lord Krsna? And what is that instruction? To approach a bona fide spiritual master. So no way you listen to that person, because he may be reading scripture, he may be teaching something about the Supreme Person, but if he did not accept a bona fide spiritual master and put himself under the lotus feet of the spiritual master, meaning he offers his life, he listens, and the truth is passed on to him. Initiation means a relationship between the representative of God and you and me. Meaning, I wanted to do the will of God by following the instruction ng spiritual master. So sa beginning, it's just a sort of like a duty you do. Parang, oh, I have to do this because it's God's instruction. It's Krishna's instruction. And my spiritual master gives me instruction how I can be connected with Lord Krsna. So it's just a beginning. But when you filially or do it in such a way, in practice, then you experience purification. And what is that purification? It is about the sinful activities that we have done in the past that has covered us. And the false ego will be cleared. We will realize our true nature, real ego, that I'm eternally the servant of God. And the beauty of someone who has a bona fide spiritual master is that he can be guided absolutely and eternally. So that is the crucial point wherein one is fortunate enough to come in contact with the representative of God. Either you get initiated when you decide to give your life to God and follow Him. You see Him as the representative of God, not by someone telling that this person is the representative of God, but by God Himself, by scriptures and parampara, coming from Lord Krsna. So very, very safe. Safe tayo ba? Dahil we follow someone who is loving and doing the will of God. That is the disciple, the bona fide spiritual master. So disciple doesn't mean, disciple means to discipline lang. No. A disciple is someone who is a lover of God. So we must aspire to achieve what we should be achieving, to become purified from all these misconceptions sa buhay natin, and really realize, understand our true eternal relationship with God. And that is a connection between, a reciprocation between a disciple and a spiritual master. And the spiritual master is someone who can teach us how to love God, because he's loving God. He sees God. And Krishna tells us that the bona fide spiritual master is not different from him, inseparable from him. God's inconceivable potency. He's an individual person, but he's God, inseparable from God. He's always in association with God. That is called achinta beda beda tattva, simultaneously one and different. But in oneness, there is variety of relationship. Okay? You relate to your spiritual master as not the supreme enjoyer, but rather someone who is a pure, loving servant of God, and you enter that world of confidential relationship with God. So yun yung reason you accept a bona fide spiritual master, to have a confidential, loving relationship with God. Ano yung confidential? Confidential means you're so open that you have no more, you don't protect yourself because you're completely surrendered. 100% surrendered to your spiritual master, and you have no more, you have come to the point of liberation, meaning no more material desires, and you're focusing now in establishing a pure, continuous relationship with the Supreme Person under the guidance of His confidential loving servant, who can introduce you to Krishna. Krishna introduces you to His devotee. Kaya yung process natin is that Lord Krishna arranged it that you come in contact with the wisdom that teaches about your eternality. And then the wisdom about the qualification of a spiritual master. And the wisdom about the goal of life. The wisdom about the difference between me, the person, my mind, my body, the false ego. It's about me who is a confidential, supposedly, a loving servant of God. But that is not the case. Because we are servant of our senses. We are subjugated by the three modes of material nature. So disciple means someone who follows the instruction of the spiritual master. It's not the goal, oh, I'm initiated na ako, ha? Initiated na ako. No. It's just the beginning. Because from that point, either you make it or you don't make it. Meaning, if you follow the instruction that is given with faith and sincerity, then you succeed. But if you just get initiated, you're given a name, okay? And you give an instruction, and then you do other things. You have other consideration. So ito yung babasahin ko ngayon, kung ano yung pure devotee. Because the goal of life is to achieve a confidential, loving relationship with God. Meaning, we must become pure, loving servant of God. Naintindihan nyo? Is it clear sa'yo, Chaitanya Das? Ha? To become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. What is a pure devotee? Someone who is sincerely and purely doing the will of God and who has love for God that is pure, unalloyed. Simply, my life belongs to God. I do His will, I love Him, and that is when a person makes progress, because activities that you do, we do, it gives us ananda or happiness. There's happiness. It's not anymore, okay, you get initiated, then that's it. Let's play ML or whatsoever. No, it's not like that. Let's go to other places and do other things. Hindi ganun ang ibig sabihin nun. In the beginning, it's just a duty you do. But because you know that's the truth. You're convinced. That you did not convince yourself, but you're convinced about the reality of your situation. You're lost in this world. You need guidance. And who can guide you? God. And how can you determine that this person is a representative of God? And how do you know about that God will guide you? Because from listening to someone who has a confidential relationship with God, you can understand God. You can know God, that He loves you. He's your well-wisher. He's your eternal friend. You're looking for a friend eternally, then make Krishna your friend. But now that is not the case. We have other intent in our life because we have our own will. So the disciple should come to the point, you, me, that we don't have our will anymore, but a decision wherein we have understood and realized clearly that we're eternally the loving friend, servant of Krishna. Okay? Yun na yung buhay mo. Hindi na yung mind sinusunod mo. Then you're liberated. then you experience happiness. Kagaya ngayon, you analyze yourself. Okay? Supposedly, the glories of God, about the pastimes of God, about the wisdom, it gives you happiness and fulfillment, security. Okay? But because we have been conditioned, it's not our program anymore. Oh, time to just listen to the pastimes of Krsna, about the wisdom, that's the time you get your book. No, it's not like that. Spiritual life, maturity, spontaneity. Sa beginning, hindi ka spontaneous. Okay? Alam mo yung spontaneous? Hindi ba natural sa'yo? Kaya you're in practice. So ngayon, you're given this opportunity. We're given to follow the instruction of the spiritual master. Then it becomes spontaneous. What you think, what you do, how you breathe, how you work, everything is centered around pleasing and doing the will of God. And then you begin, wow, what will happen to me? Okay? Ano mangyayari sa akin? Magsilbi lang sa Diyos? Okay? How can I be happy? Then you have a problem. Okay? Because you're given the opportunity to come in contact with the representative of God. Para. And they're there to bless you. They're very magnanimous and caring and merciful. Now, if you don't take advantage of this opportunity, then it's a great loss. Because you'll be wandering in this material world, life after life, birth after birth, death after death. So ito yung consciousness na dapat natin ma-achieve. So it's not, when you engage in spiritual life, you begin to become aware. Awareness. Hindi lang yung aware ka dahil sinasabi sa'yo. Alam mo yung awareness? Klaro ba sa'yo? Conscious ba? Alam mo yung aware? Aware ba? Klaro sa'yo. Aware ka na pag hinawakan mo apoy, mainit. Pag binasa mo umawa ka ng tubig, mababasa yung kamay mo. Aware ka ba? Klaro sa'yo yung ginagawa mo. Hindi yung pag-oras na ng program, kunin yung ballpen nyo, kunin yung wala kayo sa ganung situation. Ibig sabihin nun, pag wala kayo rito, mawawala kayo. Kaya ang reason, nandito kayo ngayon, all of you here, anybody, is to have this spontaneous meditation, a state of consciousness, to do the will of God, day out, day in. So kung ang activities rito, lagi na lang kayo pagsasabihan, gawin nyo to, gawin nyo yun. Meaning, you are not that mature enough, gumagapang ka pa. Hindi ka pa nga gumagapang, hindi ka pa kayata nakatayo eh. So mahirap. So you're given this opportunity now. Klaro. Then you leave this place. Hindi kayo nag-mature spiritually. Then it's a great loss. Because you will be eaten by the environment there out. Kakainin kayo doon, ng association nyo. Alam niyo, kakainin kayo? If you cannot win them, join them. Ganun magiging consciousness nyo. Anyway, what do I get? I've been chanting. Nag-aral kayo rito. Nakasama niyo yung mga nagtuturo sa inyo rito. Then after all those years, hindi talaga tayo nag-mature. Hindi kayo dumating sa point ng experiencing a relationship with God. A happiness of Ananda. Because you have understood your true transcendental nature and the wisdom that you should engage in serving and pleasing God. Because God is self-sufficient, He's the Lord of love, He's the source of happiness, and that is our true, eternal position and function to serve God. And hindi mo na-experience yun dito. Kaya after a while, you just leave the place, then do other things. You get lost into oblivion. Alam mo yung oblivion? Alam mo yung abyss? Malalim na bangin. Doon ka lang, madilim. Na wala kang hahawakan. Malalim na walang katapusan. Nasa desert world ka. Walang happiness. Pag hindi mo na-appreciate. Kasi dito lang, nahirapan na nga kayo eh. Di ba? You cannot even control your mind. You're not aware of your relationship with God. Kaya kailangan pagsabihan kayo parate. Okay? Inisip nyo, program na. I'm not here. Hindi, yung spiritual master, hindi siya nandito lang para babysit kayo. Because we want you to have a sustainable, clear understanding and a relationship and activities that is eternal and absolute. It's about your relationship with God. That even though you leave this place, you leave your body, it will continue. Kasi tignan nyo yung situation nyo ngayon. Pag alis nyo rito, then what will happen to you? Okay? Because your relationship with God has not been established. You're not connected with the pleasure of God. You're not pleasing to God. That's the point. Relationship with God is to be pleasing with God. And how to be pleasing? To relate to Him in love. But are we in that state? No. But there's an inkling in our heart. Meron tayong gustong gawin. Oh, okay to Walam natin. Pero how can that be established? It is already established when the spiritual master plants the seed of love for God in our heart. All we got to do is take care of the garden in our heart. Water it. So the plant will grow. Pero halimbawa, akala mo, initiation o kaya training lang sa Madana, then after that, you go other things. Then, it's a great loss for you. That is why I emphasize so much that what we should be understanding is a sustainable activity, consciousness that we should be imbibed. Imbibe ba? Yun ang buhay mo. Either nandito ka, nasa katawan ka, o wala ka sa katawan. Nasa saan ka ba? Nasa impyerno ka ba? Nasa langit ka? Pero yung relationship mo with God is established because you have heard your spiritual master, your eternal friend, your eternal relationship that He has guided you, and you live that life of what is pleasing to God by following His will, because you're doing the will of Lord Krishna. So when you leave this world, anywhere, either umalis ka sa katawan, mapunta ka sa ibang planet, whatsoever, your life, your devotional service will continue because it's a continual process that is sustainable when you have appreciated and took the opportunity and follow and took that love that is being given to you by our spiritual master, by Krishna. So tignan nyo yung situation nyo. Am I in that state? O ang dami kong concern? Ano yung problem dito sa mundo na to? Na-experience ang lahat. Bukti-mukti. Bukti, enjoyment. Then after enjoyment, you engage in material enjoyment, you experience sinful reaction. You want liberation. You go, save me, save me. Okay? Then after being saved, you go back again. Bukti-mukti, bukti-mukti. Two witches of allurement. Alam mo yung witch? Alam mo yung witch? Ano ibig sabihin ng witch? Yung bruha ba? Witch. Kaya kang lokohin ba? Okay? Si Maya, kaya kang lokohin eh. Halimbawa, nag-identify ka sa body. Okay? Yung witch, arrange niya. Yung spirit soul na sa katawan ng babae. Okay? Inisip mo, may condition ka na. Isip mo, lalaki ka, tao ka. Okay? Ang attraction mo, arrange ni Krishna. Ni Maya, si Maya. Kasi gusto mong enjoyin yung, gusto mong nakawin, enjoyin yung energy ni Krishna. Okay? So, you'll be bewitched. Akala mo, uy, wow, napakaganda. Hindi mo alam, inilusyon ka lang ni Maya. So this world, when you have heard the truth from someone who shared the truth, then you are free. You can see. Why? Because you have this wisdom, knowledge of what is transcendental and absolute. Relationship, engagement in activities, your life should have a sustainable happiness that is connected with the source of happiness. And you're protected. And it's not just enjoyment. It's just ananda, but rather a relationship with pleasing God. Our eternal, true, transcendental activity to engage in pleasing God. So when we become liberated, free from this false bodily identification, akala kasi natin, oh, I am not the body, I am not the body. Pero in reality, we're so much immersed in bodily identification, in false ego. And it must be cut off with the sword of wisdom coming from God. Is it clear? Naintindihan niyo? Intindihan mo, Chaitanya Das? So, ibig sabihin nun, kung halimbawa, magkaroon ng gulo, biglang nag-lockdown dito, o kaya biglang aalis ka, dapat maintindihan mo talaga yung katotohanan. Para masinasaan ka, okay? Connected ka kay Krishna. So, ano yung magiging effect sa buhay ng person? Pag naintindihan mo to, you will be attached to the holy names. The more you chant, the more you understand, you become attached to the holy names because Krishna is not different from the holy names. You say Krishna, then Krishna satisfies your longing in your heart. What you're longing, your security, every problem that you face, Krishna will protect you. And the more you make progress, it's all about the holy names, Krishna, Krishna, Hare, Krishna, Rama. God has innumerable names invested with transcendental potencies. Just like when Ajamila, who engaged in simple activities, he's a Brahmana, but he got so contaminated with sinful activities. At the time he's leaving the body, he said, Krishna, Narayan, because the holy names is not different from Krishna. He uttered the holy name in purity. So Krishna sent his representative, the Vishnu Duta, to fetch him. But prior to that, dumating na yung Yamaduts para kunin siya. Because he has to answer all the sinful activities he did. Yung karma, lahat. But Krishna did not allow that because he chanted the holy names in purity. Narayan. So, through living example of those who took the process, they achieve perfection. They go back to the world of Vaikuntha where there is no matter, no suffering, and engage in a relationship of loving service to the Supreme Person for the pleasure of God. So lahat ng ginagawa natin dito, it's all illusion. Di ba lahat tayo nagtatanong, may tao kaya sa moon? May tao kaya sa yung mga alien? Darating na kaya? Alam niyo yung alien? Alam niyo yung E.T.? Hindi yung E.T. ha? Yung E.T. ba? Extraterrestrial. Hindi yung E.T. ng manok. Okay? Anong idea nila ng E.T.? Di ba yung mukha, may imagination sila eh. Mukhang kwanggul, na may power, makayang gumamot. Pero ang totoo, lahat tayo alien. We don't belong to this world. Lahat ng living entity na nasa material world are alien. Hindi ka taga dito. Either sa katawan ka ng aso, pusa, you don't belong here. Because by nature, you're eternal and transcendental. Kaya lang, why are we here? Okay? Because we want to dominate material nature. We want to do our own will. So Krishna allows you till the time you get fed up enough. So at the time when a person comes to the point na no more, no way out na dito, then given the opportunity, who is fortunate to come in contact with the representative of God, and is given guidance, then that person is safe, is protected, because he puts himself, his whole life, under the shelter of God in humbleness. Pero a person who is so egotistic, full of false ego, he's arrogant. Why do I need all of this? Why do I hear from you? Why? Because you're dying, my friend. You're suffering, birth, death, disease, and old age. And there's no guarantee that you'll be born as a human being again, in the form of a human being. And there's no guarantee that all the individuals whom you're so attached in different bodies, you'll be together, life after life. Is it clear? Naintindihan nyo? Akala mo, clan. Anong clan? Clan na mga Pedrosa clan, nagsama-sama. Pag umalis kayo sa katawan, may mga sinful activities kayong ginawa according to your destiny, according to the activities you do, that will be your destiny. Okay? Marami kang pagpipilian, either saan ka pupunta, sa impyerno ba o saan. Kaya enough of this being confused by illusion. It is addressed when we listen to the bona fide spiritual master. Is it clear? So, dun muna tayo maghinto, but ang problem talaga is bhukti-mukti. So, yung devotee, wala siyang material desires. He's not interested for liberation. He's not even interested to go to the kingdom of God. His desire is to simply do the will of his spiritual master and render service to his spiritual master guided by Lord Krsna and Parampara. Is it clear sa inyo? Kaya masiwala na kayo rito, and if that is your focus in life, then you're in the right direction. Because at the time, you will be guided by one person, God. You will not be guided by your mind. And then you can see, you check yourself. Because spiritual life is an experience you must experience. Okay? I'm talking about ananda, happiness. But if you're not in that state, that you can see. Okay? You are driven by your mind. Ano yung ano ng mind nyo? You want relief. Relief. To be relieved from your suffering. But because you identify with the desire in the mind and this false ego, then we must transcend. We must appreciate our true transcendental nature and engage in activities that will connect us with what is pleasing to God. Is it clear sa inyo? So let's discuss this subject matter tomorrow kasi to discuss about the devotee. So I'll read na lang one verse about the devotee, okay? A pure devotee, a pure loving servant, the spiritual master. A pure devotee never cares for liberation. Ano yung liberation? To become free from suffering. He's not interested. He's in a world that is not touched by material nature. He's beyond material consideration. A pure devotee never cares for liberation. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to Krsna, "My dear son of Nanda, I do not want any material happiness in the shape of many followers, nor immense opulence in wealth, nor any beautiful wife, nor do I want cessation from material existence. I may take birth many, many times, one after another. But what I pray from you is that my devotion unto you may always remain unflinching. Unflinching. Di matandog ba? Yun ang prayer ng devotee. Never waver. Alam niyo yung waver? Nakita yung kawayan. Pag may hangin, magganon-ganon, di ba? Kung saan yung hangin, doon dumating kawayan. So yung devotee, unflinching, one-pointed, and does not waver. He's fixed. Why? Because in a world of a loving relationship that is transcendental, pure unalloyed devotion, and that we can achieve when we become purified from all these sinful activities and misgivings, and when we come to the point of humbleness through the chanting of the holy names. But if you don't chant, how can you experience humbleness? How can you experience purification? The more you chant, the more you like to chant. And it becomes spontaneous. The mind now begins to be spiritualized. That's why the body of the spiritual master, they put it in a tomb. Because the spiritual master is 100% transcendental. All the pores, all the molecules in the body that he has is transcendental because it's completely under the jurisdiction of Yogamaya, loving service to the Supreme Person. That's why we worship the spiritual master as non-different from God. You don't do that to anybody. That's why you don't give your life to anybody who is not the representative of God. Intindihan niya? So now you ask this question, do I have someone to follow who is a representative of God? So how can I know? How can I achieve that point? How can I be doing the will of God? Then you must pray to desire, that you may desire to do the will of God, to be sincere, and be under the guidance and mercy of Lord Krishna. It's a prayer you must do. Okay? Nasa inyo yan. But you can check yourselves. Okay? If you're not enthusiastic, meaning you're not making progress. Wala kang gana. Parang yung aso, dalawang aso. Yung isang aso, nakaupo lang, nakikinig sa ano niya, sa master niya. Pag sabi ng master, okay, I'll throw this stick, okay? Fetch it. Tapon, takbo agad siya, kunin niya, balik. Tapos, bigyan siya ng something ng master niya. Okay? Okay? Yung isa, na aso, nandun lang, nakatingin. Sabi niya, okay, I'll throw this, fetch it. Tulog. Okay? Sabi ng master, okay, let's go. This place will be devastated. Let's come. Yung isang dog, bahala mo diya. Okay? Yung aso, sunod sa ano. Alam nyo, pag may pet dog kayo, talagang dog. Sino ba may pet dog? Wala kayong pet dog, no? Hindi, may pet dog kayo. Yung dog na sobrang sa inyo attach, masisipain mo ba? Out! Lalapit yun. Pero, isugay itong iro. Katang si COVID, isugay na. Di ba? Pero pag si Rishab, hawa diya! Ang iro, muduol lang sa likod. Pilit-pilit kay Rishab, di ba? Hawa! Pilit lang, okay? So when you are really in that mood of relationship with Krishna and spiritual master, you may get chastised. Pagalitan ka, o i-praise ka, kabuutan nimo, o kaya gahi mong kasing-kasing, masyado kang envious. For you, it's all transcendental. It is love for you. Okay? Pero when a person is in false ego, sabihin mo lang, sayop man naghihimo nimo. What? Unsa na? Ulaw kayo sa mga tao eh. Pakaulawan ko nimo. Ha? Then he gets angry. Okay? Di ko dire. Mga tao dili makita akong purity o akong kaayuhan. Puro na lang nilad ilang makita sa ako. Makita nila kung magsagarilyo, mo inom. Di nila makita unsa kaayuhan ako. Okay? Di ko dire. So, spiritual life is about, it's like, alam nyo yung sculpturing? Nakakita na kayong gumagawa ng mga, hindi yung mga binibenta niya na nagdadala ng, ganun din. Nakita nyo yung nagbebenta ng mga ano? Sa hirap ng buhay, may nagbebenta na kayo ng Santo Niño, di ba? Lalakad. Okay? Di ba, kung kahoy yun, paano ginawa yun? Sinong gumawa na? Yung sculptor, di ba? So spiritual life is like that. You must check yourself always. What separates you from God? What makes it that you're not serving God? Okay? You're self-critical. Tinitignan mo. You analyze, you see your consciousness. You check yourself, okay? If you're making progress. If you have a relationship. It's not that you make a show, mabait kayo sa harap, you know? Okay? Mag-bow down kayo, kuha kayong karlan, gawa kayo nito. Pero in reality, it's just a show. Alam mo yung show? It's a shell you try to portray to get something, okay? Alam mo yan? And if you don't get it, you get angry. Masiunsao na ako. Dili mang yun ko nila anoon. Okay? It's a game you play. You try to orchestrate. Alam mo, it's orchestrate. You lay down a track, orchestrate ba? Okay? Alam mo, orchestrate? Magplano ba? Parang halimbawa, nakakita ka magandang dilag dito, dumating. Uy, daga man pala estudyante sa Madana ba? Kita nimo nag-ano doon. Kita nimo, uy, gwapa man eh. So what will you do? How can I have a relationship with that person? Okay? What do? You pass by and then you said, can I do something for you? Okay? You try to orchestrate something, plan to have a relationship, taga-asa kaday. Di ba? You orchestrate ba? And then, you try to make a show, best foot forward. No? All the good things to get something, to be accepted. Alam mo, to be accepted. Okay? Kasi it's so painful that you want somebody to offer your love, your heart, and you get rejected. Di ba? Okay? Di ba? Napaka-sakit nun, di ba? Ano yung kanta ni Kuya Eddie? Okay? Napaka-sakit, di ba? Okay? So in spiritual life, it's also like that. You don't make a show. You don't, alam mo yung duplistic? Alam yung duplistic? Doble cara ba? You make a show, you're a devotee. You're nice, you work, everything, because you want to get something, and you don't get it. Because it's all in your mind about spiritual life. Spiritual life is you serving God. And the mind follows you. The body, you have everything. It's about an offering to God. So spirit, you come to this world, you come to kaya pag tumanggap na napalapit ka sa spiritual master, you don't need to put that show. You don't need to do something to show to God how good you are. Because in front of God, you're naked. You have nothing to protect. He sees you. He sees your heart. He sees your future. He sees your past. You don't need to make believe you're a good guy, to be loved because you're loved eternally by the spiritual master. You don't need to make a show to be accepted and to be loved. Kaya lang, when you come in contact with the spiritual master, he gives you guidance. What is that guidance? So you can sustain your relationship with God. Alam mo yung sustain? Continue ba? Either you're here in Madana or you're somewhere else, never land, you're in United States of California or in Russia, your life and your relationship with God is sustainable. Kaya yung instruction niya, yun ang magsusustain. So you don't need to put a show to be accepted. All you got to do is follow the protocol that you don't disturb others in their service to Krishna. Kaya the more you're making progress, the more you become concerned and caring. Alam mo yung caring? Like for example, this place, everybody's cleaning this place, diba? Makita mo may papel dyan, bahala yan. Di man ko naglabay na. Kita mo? Nakita mo, pagpasok mo sa CR, ang dumi ng CR. Okay? Kasi hindi ka naliligo ka lang, ginagamit mo eh. Pero kung concern ka, limpyan na ako niyo, baka naani kagaw ba? Okay? Limpyan mo. Okay? Malay mo, dumating ang panahon na kalibangon ka, pirmi, nakaproblema, pagsulod mo sa CR, puno sa tayo, mag-unsa ka dito. Di ba? Pero kung pirmi limpyo, ba? You are in a consciousness of caring. Anything. Relationship with your husband, relationship with your wife, relationship with your friend, how you speak, every move you do, it is an offering, a relationship with pleasing the Supreme Person, your spiritual master. Then you're a devotee. Hindi yung shell. Pakita mo, nagcha-chant ka, babow down ka, sayaw ka, pakita ko talaga, nagsasayaw ako, kakanta ko na umiiyak na ako, yung music talagang, pagkatapos sigarilyo sa tabi. Okay? So, ang whole point ko rito, dapat makita natin how we can sustain our true transcendental relationship with God. And that is given to us by Krishna through His representative. And if you don't take care of that relationship, then Krishna is not pleased. If you take this opportunity to follow the instruction of the person Krishna loves so much, who sacrificed so much to assist us, to represent Krishna, then Krishna becomes pleased. He takes notice of that. He protects you. It's a relationship between you, the spiritual master, and Krishna. That is spiritual life. It's not joining. That's why it's very important that your relationship with God should be a relationship that is transcendental, and the person whom you follow is someone also who has a transcendental, unalloyed relationship with God. Hindi lang pwedeng, tatay ko devotee, anak devotee. Hindi ganon. Pwedeng devotee, pero hindi ganon. Kasi dapat may wisdom tayo, may maturity tayo sa spiritual life. Kaya nga sinasabi ko sa inyo, buntot nyo, hila nyo eh. Okay? Ngipin nyo, sagang nyo, sungay nyo, buhat nyo. Hindi mo pwedeng i-blame iba. Yun yung dance ng false ego eh. You blame others ba? Kasi you're not in control eh. And you suffer. And what's your suffering na ma-experience mo? You're in the world, in a desert. Once a person is in the world of lust, greed, and anger, then you're in a desert burning. Impyerno yung buhay mo, impyerno yung buhay mo. Masi, nakasakay ka pa sa magandang sasakyan, aircon yung paligid, marami kang pera, pwede mong gawing kumot, no? Maraming pumapalapak sa'yo. Alam niyo yung pinakamagandang, di ba lahat, yung someone who has physical beauty ba? Di ba? Ang worry niya, anong worry ng person na yun? Halimbawa, Miss Universe International, so beautiful. Anong worry niya? If he has isipin niya, will this person love me because of what I am or because of the skin that he sees? Mayroon ka rin worry. Okay? So, in our relationship with God and the spiritual master, we'll become free from that. So that is, it's already decided. If you give your life to the devotee of God, to the representative of God, then you're protected. Because Krsna promised, to those who are constantly devoted unto me, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Ibig sabihin nun, kung gusto mong kagaya ka ng mga husband ng wives ng yung mga wives ng Brahmana, tapos yung husband nila, they want to go to the kingdom, to heavenly kingdom, then Krsna awards you kung anong gusto mo. But the wives, because they're pure loving servant of God, they just desire to do what is pleasing to God. In meditation, remembering Lord Krsna, and Krsna came, just Krsna. But they have all Krsna. So it's up to you, because it's your life. Now, if you want to live in a life that is burning, desert world, then follow the dictates of your mind, which is lust, anger, and greed. And this lordship. Yun ang nagpapahirap sa atin eh. Because we think we are competent. Alam niyo competent? Kaya natin i-sustain yung ginagawa natin. In the midst ng lahat pumapalpak. Palpak na nga yung buhay natin, pero akala natin we can sustain and experience fulfillment and happiness in what we think we should be doing. Okay? These are all illusion, temporary. Okay? Your arrogance, yung kayabangan natin, yung paglayo natin kay Krsna will be the cause of our delusion and unhappiness. And if we don't take this gift, this relationship, then it's us who's going to experience separation from real protection and happiness. So si Lord Chaitanya, sabi niya, I have no desire to have any numbers of followers of mine. Hindi niya kailangan maraming followers. I have no desire to have material wealth. I have no desire to enjoy beautiful women. My only desire is to be engaged in your loving service life after life. So let's see ourselves. Ana ba ko? Makita nyo pag, halimbawa, makita nyo pag, di ba mayroon tayong feeding kuminsan? Makita nyo? Daming pagkain ba? Di ba? Pero lahat mag-uunahan. Di ba? Sa attitude ba? You know, when Srila Prabhupada comes, all the disciples will be the last one to get prasadam. When we have this program, Srila Prabhupada will be giving garlands, kasi giving gift to people, a relationship. The disciples will just be waiting. Then after everybody have taken their prasadam and gifts from Srila Prabhupada, from Krsna, then they come if there's something left. But if there's none, it's okay. Your happiness is the happiness of others. When you see others happy in the service of Krishna, that's why the spiritual master is a well-wisher. Are we well-wisher? When you experience this, when you come to the point of a transcendental relationship with Krishna through your spiritual master, you come to the point there's nothing more to be gained. Wala na akong kailangan except to be pleasing to Krishna and my spiritual master. But although wala kang ganun ang consciousness, but Krishna takes care of you. What you lack, Krishna fulfills it. Sabi ni Krishna, what my devotee lacks, I fill it up. Declare it boldly to the world. My devotee will never perish. I will always protect them. Pero anong consciousness natin? Lagi tayong, kala natin, kaya natin protect. Put your life in God's hands. Then come to the point, there's nothing more to be gained. Because activities you do are eternal, transcendental, when you're doing the will of God. Chanting is transcendental and eternal. So just focus upon the holy names, the all in all that will relate and communicate with God so we can do the will of God. Day out, day in, even nandito tayo, wala tayo rito. So that should be, it's like sculpturing ba? Gumagawa ka, alam mo sculptor, gagawa ka ng magandang image. Ikaw yung nagtitigib ba? Ikaw yung nag-aalis ng mga hindi magagandang bagay, okay? Halimbawa, dalo ka kayo. Di na ako magdalo, okay? If you have Krishna, mawala man yun. Because your heart will be fulfilled. You don't need anything. Krishna will take care of everything. When you make your life, you come to the point, Krishna, you be my driver. Your will is my will. I have no more will. Your will be done. That is a devotee of God. So we must come to that point. I have no other will except your will. I am like a puppet guided by you. Hindi yung puppet na Pinocchio. Because your heart, your love is connected with the heart's desire of Lord Krishna. Okay? Is it clear? Chaitanya that? So dapat ma-chant talaga. Bahala na. Huwag mo na isipin na paano ako maging matalino? Kung laging si Krishna na sa mind mo, Krishna, 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 ikaw yung pinakamatalino. Kasi Krishna yung magbibigay sa'yo ng talino. Okay? No? Limited man tayo, but kung si Krishna ang yakap mo, so protected ka. Pero yung mga individual na hindi si Krishna, hindi yung holy names, yung yakap nila, iba yung yayakapin nila. Kung gumawa ka ng krimen, malamig na rehas, yayakapin mo. Pero kung hindi ka connected kay Krishna, nandito ka sa desert world na nagliliyab dahil sa matinding pagnanasa at malalim na balon na madilim na walang patutunguhan. Okay? Dahil bulag ka. Okay? So we must be guided by our heart. Our heart must become purified from all these sinful activities and reaction. And our heart should be, our life should be an offering to the Supreme Person in humbleness. Okay? Although He does not need us, but we need Him, and a relationship is devotional, loving service. Is it clear? Clear sa'yo? Okay? So don't worry. Don't worry. Krishna will take care of everything. Haribol, let's chant.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Praya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Praya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya.
Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Satya Vrinda.
Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Satya Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Hari Bol Krishna,
Madana Mohana.
Haribol, Haribol.
Gopala
Haribol. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Haribol, Haribol.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Haribol, Haribol.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana.
Gopala Govinda Rama,
Haribol. Mohana.
Madana Madana Mohana. Madana
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gaura Karuna Swarambhaya Radha Krishna Kristaya Te